Alright, so if you're a roofer watching this, then you saw the title of this video and you clicked on it, and you're probably wondering, huh, Manny, what are you going to talk about today? Well, it's pretty simple. One of the things that being a marketing agency owner that I see very often, and surprisingly more often than I'd like to see it, is roofing business owners not knowing their actual roles at different revenue stages. So I work with roofers doing $1 million. I also work with roofers doing $3 million. And we work with roofers and contractors doing $5 million plus, 10 million, 20, 30, 40. And some of these people don't know what their actual roles as it relates to management, right? That's number one. And as it relates to what type of, I guess like the best way to put it is like what type of manager they should be and what type of systems they need to put in place. They don't know what that role is of like what they need to do. And so essentially today I'm going to have a breakdown for you on what that's going to look like at each revenue stage and where it's applicable for you and why most contractors that I know get stuck at the second stage, at the second identity. Um, and they carry that on with them all the way till like they're at 5, 10 million, and that's why they get stuck ultimately. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Manny Asadi. I'm the co-founder and sales director here at Roof Ignite. I speak to a lot of clients directly, and I see a lot of these problems like hands-on. So when I talk about these things, trust me when I say they're legit, and you probably resonate with some of these things. But what we're going to do today is find solutions on how you can overcome these things and how you can become a better manager for your salespeople, for your team, and become the company owner you've always wanted to be without having to go through all the different headaches that most of these clients that I've talked to go through before getting my advice. So talking about 4 different stages is typically what people go through. I'm going to write these down here in just a second, show you exactly what these 4 different stages are, what each hurdle is, and how you can overcome them. So let's go through it stage by stage. Stage 1, typically, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Stage 1 typically is going to be people that I call taskmen, okay? You could probably guess from the name of it what I mean by that. These are generally people doing anywhere from 500K in annual recurring revenue all the way to a $1 million. All right, so taskmen, what do they do? Taskmen at this stage pretty much do everything theyselves, right? They're like a one-man show, and pretty much you do sales, right? I'm gonna write this down. So stage 1, you're doing sales. You are a project manager, so PM. You're on the job sites as well. You probably do payroll, right? 99% of the times. You're writing up estimates, and you likely have good crews in place. You're probably not too involved within the crew processes, but you're still managing the projects. Now, in this video specifically also, what I want to talk about, in addition on top of what the managerial roles are how this relates as to your lead infrastructure and how you grow your company. So the problem with, and the common issue with the taskmen is that they're not able to grow their companies because they spend so much time doing these things over here, right? They spend so much time doing the sales, and they spend so much time doing the project management and payroll and writing up estimates that their business has no opportunity to understand what real growth looks like. What you need at this stage is essentially more leads and more appointments so that you could get more revenue, so you can hire the right people, so you can keep growing. But at this stage, you don't have the time or the bandwidth to find the right lead generation companies. You don't have the bandwidth to even do some of the basic things that many companies do, like door knocking and referrals. Most of your revenue probably already comes from door knocking and referrals, and maybe a little bit of like, here and there, running a little bit of a lead channel. Maybe you run like one organic post on Facebook and somebody comes through it, or like yard signs, etc. That's generally what taskmen do, and that's how they get stuck, is like they're just in the day-to-day all the time, and everything on the business is relying upon them. They're the guy that everybody goes to, and so as a result of that, they pretty much get stuck in the cycle of like working 80 hours a week, and you have a high-paying job essentially at that point. And what ends up happening is a lot of taskmen, even if they do end up graduating to stage 2, which we're going to talk about over here, right? Even if they end up graduating, they never forget these habits that they had. And this is like, I'm going to talk about stage 2, which is where most people actually get stuck. Not a lot of you are here, right? Here is not a lot of you. But a lot of you are here at stage 2. Stage 2 is what I like to call the keyman. This is anywhere from $1 million all the way up to $2.5 million. This is where most businesses get stuck. Now, I don't want to just leave off the taskman section. Let's conclude it by saying it's very simple to get to $1 million in annual recurring revenue. Pretty much document your processes. It's really that simple. Document your sales, document your project management, document your payroll, document writing up estimates, have proper systems on how you do it first, and then delegate. It's like the hardest challenge is like getting that delegation piece and finding the right people. But ultimately, with trial and error, you'll be able to find a good sales rep. You'll be able to find a good marketing agency, and I'll write this down to have good lead flow, right? Because ultimately, once you can do that, then you'll easily graduate to stage 2. Now, here's the thing, right? When you graduate to stage 2, though, you usually keep operating like a taskman, right? So you're like now doing $2.5 million a year, or maybe even $3 million, honestly. Like I've seen all the way up to $3 million. But the way you operate your business is you're still sometimes running sales, right? Now it's like you still sometimes do sales, right? You still sometimes do sales. You still go to job sites. Marketing likely still sucks, right? So that's not figured out. And now you have somebody that's writing up your estimates, so you're not doing that anymore. You're probably still doing payroll, though. I'll tell you that. And the biggest challenge from escaping this specific stage is 2 things. You got mindset, all right? Then you got all these different systems that I highlighted over here. Like I'll put it into yellow. You have all these different systems that are you have to build, or you have to like find the right people for to get you to the next level, all right? And most people, because they're still operating like taskmen over here, they still want to be doing sales, they still want to do project management. It's like this is the stage where everybody thinks, here, this is the biggest thing people say to themselves. I should not be in a marker right here. There you go. It's like nobody does it like me. And this is what people tell themselves. They say, nobody does it like me. And then they get stuck. So they think like a taskman. They're running a business that's a keyman, so they're running a $1.1 million to $3 million business, and they think nobody can do it like me. So they get stuck in the perpetual cycle. Now they're maybe working a little bit less. Maybe they have some salespeople. They're always looking for the next best marketing. They're always looking to get more referrals, etc. They're not willing to invest in test because obviously they're like, my margins doesn't allow it, but it really does. And they're not willing to delegate certain things that suck. And so that's pretty much why people get stuck at 1 million to 2.5 million. You are at a stage, it's an awkward stage. You don't have enough money to hire the right talent that could take these things off your shoulder, like all these things that I'm mentioning. Right? This takes talent, of course. But at the same time, the other dilemma, like these things, right? The other dilemma is that you don't have the right people to help you grow the revenue. So you don't have enough cash to hire the right people, and you don't have the right people to generate the cash. So it's a little bit of a dilemma. We talk about this quite often in my business. Most people get stuck there because of their mindset, and number 2, the reason that I said, which is like you don't have enough cash to hire the right talent. Because again, marketing companies are going to be expensive. Good marketing companies are expensive. Good sales hires are expensive. So you don't have that. And then even when you do have the right people, which you don't, it'll be harder in the beginning to generate that cash to get to the next level. So that's, again, essentially the biggest challenge. That's why most people, they get stuck here. It's not inherently because this stage is like special or anything. It's just because they're operating with the taskman mindset as a keyman company. Now, essentially when you know you've graduated from here is when you're no longer in the business. So you don't have to be there for everything to run and you're still making money. That's how you know you've graduated. So you have a marketing system, you have salespeople, somebody's doing your payroll, somebody's handling your office stuff, and you don't really need to be in the weeds of like the projects, etc. That's how you know you've graduated from being a keyman. Then we go into stage 3, right? And honestly, like you need to learn how to manage people at this stage. So this is the stage where, again, you'll learn some of those skills as a keyman, but now you're going from being a keyman all the way to what I like to call in stage 3. This is very important. Now you're the manager. Here, let's stage 3. Now you become what I like to call the manager. So you went from doing everything yourself all the way from doing some of the things yourself, and now you delegate, right? So this is the stage where most people are doing like 2.5 all the way to 5 million, right? This is the delegation phase. Now, at this stage, ideally, and ideally I say it because some people still don't do this, you want to pretty much not do sales anymore, right? You don't want to do sales. Marketing has to be dialed at this stage. You probably already have a marketing manager too, is dialed, right? At this stage, no payroll done by you, right? No payroll. At this stage, also no project management. You get reported to at this stage. People tell you things and you become a better delegator. Why do people not grow from this stage? Why do people get stuck here? All right, I'm going to invite you to a little conversation. So imagine you have a $5 million company now, right? You have a lot of work that comes in every single day. Projects are being handled. You have good infrastructure, good operations, good SOPs. Now it becomes a matter of, can you scale your systems without them breaking apart, right? Can you scale your marketing to the moon? Can you scale your sales? Can you scale, well, I guess not necessarily payroll, but can you scale project management, right? It's like, do you have the ability to do all these things? That becomes the only bottleneck. And most people, because they still operate like taskmen and keymen at this stage, it's interesting. They become better delegators, but they still operate like this mindset of like, shit, everything needs to be right, and like nobody can do it as good as me. They got stuck. They never learned to build a system that allows them to become a CEO. At this stage, the only way you can graduate, we're gonna write this down. To graduate, you must be a CEO. If you're not a CEO, you're not gonna graduate from this stage. So in order to do that, you need to let go of control. And trust me, if you have the right people in place, which you should have done by this stage, you will feel the ability to say, hey, I'm able to delegate a lot more. I'm able to trust my people a lot more. And ultimately, that's going to put my company in a way better position to grow. You'll feel that. And you'll be comfortable with that. And you'll be okay with the fact that it's uncomfortable. You don't have to do everything yourself. Honestly, I went through this myself recently. It's like, I don't want everybody else to be taking care of things for me, but ultimately, you need to be a CEO. You need to let people decide things. You need to be an ideator. You need to look at your finances at this stage and say, can we pump $50,000 more into marketing and scale our companies 10 million instead of 5? And so the only difference between stage 3, the manager, and stage 4, right over here, we're going to talk about this. The executive, this is like the CEO, right? I'm going to put this in red actually. The executive. The only difference between these two, this is the guy that's doing 5 million plus. Let me write this down. 5 million plus. Only difference between the manager and the executive is one guy still thinks he needs to do everything himself, being this guy over here, and one guy delegates. It is that simple. Delegates, and one more thing, takes aggressive risk is the word. Aggressive risk. That's the only difference between a manager and an executive. The executive, he has a lot more time to think now. He sits there during the day and he thinks to himself, my dashboard for marketing looks pretty good. We're getting about a 9x return on our ad spend on meta ads. Why don't we double down? Can we do that? Can we hire another agency that does like Google ads for us? Can we spend more on marketing? Do we need to build a new system here that would allow us to grow the company faster? Can I have my director of marketing build that system? Can I have my director of operations build that system so I don't have to do it myself? And it's like, you're no longer the person who's the bottleneck of the business. And so the biggest challenge with people being better managers, with people being better operators in general, is they get stuck in the mindset of a taskman saying, I need to do everything. I need to manage everybody, right? And I need to manage everything at the same time. But remember, the thing about a keyman is he's learning to manage people better, right? The difference between a taskman and a keyman is like The taskman doesn't want to delegate anything. He doesn't want to manage people. The keyman starts learning how to manage people. The manager is now a manager of the people. Now he needs to start thinking a little bit differently when it comes to growth. And the executive knows how to manage the managers. And so that's what it means to build a roofing company that scales to 10, 15, 20 million. And most of you get stuck here at stage 2, honestly, because most of you do not want to have other people who are maybe better than you doing things. You don't want to admit that there's other people who are better than you that can do things. You don't want to hire those people. You don't want to pay for those people. And the transparency of the matter is like, you're still in the things, doing the things because you think nobody's as good as you. So as long as you can break that habit, spend a little bit of money, man up, make a little bit less profits next month, hire the right people, you will become a manager. And once you become a manager, you just got to take aggressive action to become an executive. Because a lot of people at the managerial stage, the manager, just do not scale their companies. And that's how they get stuck. So essentially, the most valuable insight that I can give you here is in order for you to go from being a stage 2 is where most people get stuck, to become somebody who scales their company to $5-10 million and beyond, you got to delegate more and take more aggressive action. And that's essentially the premise of this video, is telling you, learn how to talk to people, learn how to be a better manager, right? Learn how to let go of control and take aggressive risk. And that's how you scale your company. And quite frankly, like, this is the lesson that I wish I would have told everybody in my client base, and they would have listened to me. But it's very hard for people to actually adapt to these habits and learn these changes in their lives. But it's about doing it little by little every single day. It's like, I'm still getting good at this. So if this lesson was valuable for you, so it's going to be a shorter video today, but if this lesson was valuable for you, understanding what it fundamentally takes to scale your company from like 0 to 5 to 10 million, then drop a like. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments below. And if you have any suggestions for video titles that I can do, let me know. And if this was valuable, also let me know. I'll see you in the next one. It's been Manny Asadi, Director of Sales here at Roof Ignite, co-founder. And I hope that these insights allow you to become a better CEO, better executive, and ultimately you can make more money. We all want to get richer. We all want to help more people. So if I was able to help you do that, subscribe to my channel. And then if you're looking for a marketing company to help you scale your business and teach you these lessons at a higher level and in deeper depth, then click the link below in the description and you can have a chat with my team. We'll show you exactly how to do this. Talk soon.